You know, he has put on 30 pounds of muscle and he's 8% body fat. Wow. So
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be talking about Ben Affleck's body transformation to play Batman and what I think he did specifically to prepare for that role. So first, taking a look at Ben Affleck in the movie School Ties in 1992, we can see him at 20 years old at the time of filming, and here he is not unfit by any means, but certainly not impressively muscular. Nothing you would attribute to PED use, exogenous hormones, nothing you would even debate about, in my opinion. And then moving forward to 3 years later in Glory Days, he's 23 years old, and he's has more or less the same physique. He has perhaps gained a bit of fat, if anything, around the midsection. Looks maybe a bit less, maybe it's just his posture, but he looks like he might have even lost a bit of muscle. And then moving forward to 1997, he's 25 here, and this is probably the leanest he's been since that movie in 1992, the School Ties movie, when he was 20 years old. Here he has a little bit of muscle. Perhaps it's just the tan. It's kind of hard to say, but certainly not indicative of performance enhancing drug use at this point either. No gear for this transformation so far. And then moving forward all the way to 2003 at 31 years old for the movie Jiggly. Here you can actually see him flexing in front of the mirror, trying to see how yoked he is, flexing the traps, flexing the guns here, doing curls in the mirror. And we get a very obvious look at his physique and what he has gained, if anything, since his 20s. And it's fair to say, if anything, he's probably just remained the same, if not gained a little bit of fat, maybe a couple pounds of muscle at most. There's another role in 2003 that's worth noting. It's called Paycheck, and here he's doing an action sequence where we can see all the fibers contracting while he's swinging the stick around and hitting these targets, and we get a better idea of what his physique looks like in an action sequence. And again, no crazy muscle gain has been accomplished since his roles in his 20s, and at most you might think he's athletic in this. No crazy muscle gain that indicative of steroid use yet. And then going forward to 2006, his physique has significantly regressed, and he's, displaying the classic dad bod at this point, basically. Skinny fat, pretty much. I don't think he's lost muscle. I just think he's gained probably like 10 to 20 pounds of shit weight at this point, and that's kind of what physique he's displaying in this movie in 2006. Moving forward 4 years to The Town, this is where his physique peaked, and he went way out of his way to prepare for a role, and he's 38 years old here and has the most impressive physique he's had to date, even out of his 20s, like way more impressive than his 20s. You can see here the downlighting is perfect. He has his full six-pack, ab cuts are in. And what a lot of people have actually mentioned before, I'm not sure where I originally heard this, but a lot of speculation as to if he has gyno. Like the downlighting is pretty heavy in this clip, and you can sort of see a bit of the protruding nipples, a bit of a lump almost on the not a bit of the right one maybe, but more so on the left one. There's substantial protrusion almost. It's not just like the nipples are pointy. It looks like there's potentially lumps underneath where the breast tissue would develop. So is this indicative of using heavily aromatizing drugs in preparation for this movie in 2010? Some would argue yes, because it's not like he's really displayed any gyno symptoms in the past. If you look back at him when he was younger, I don't see any lumps. I don't see any like protruding, very obvious gynecomastia development. Even when he's spreading his arms out and flexing, kind of, you don't see any protruding lumps. But again, he's never been this lean before, at least that I've seen. So for him to show these lumps in this scene in particular, perhaps he just never had the lighting circumstances or enough muscle mass and simultaneous leanness to show it in the past. However, it certainly implies that there could be some sort of performance enhancing drug use, and of the drugs in question, it would be something that aromatizes heavily to estrogen. So that narrows down the choices of steroids to testosterone, trestolone, boldenone, and dianabol, essentially. Nothing else is really going to cause substantial gyno development to the point where you have an obvious lump developing, unless you were using obviously something else in conjunction with an aromatizing steroid, because it also causes. But the more likely outcome, if he did take something to prepare for this role, it was likely testosterone. That would be my guess. Now, did he use testosterone for this role is the question. It's a bit on the fence, because it's not like his physique is anything unachievable naturally. However, when we look at his genetic baseline and his progression over the years, even in roles where we can presume he he probably tried to get a decent physique. Like for Jiggly, he's literally flexing here. In Paycheck, he's doing athletic sequences. The likelihood is high that he probably did some sort of testosterone cycle to prepare for the town. Now, that's mostly based just on this gyno scene, to be honest. And for all we know, it could just be angles. It might not even be gyno. I can't tell for sure, but it certainly implies use in this part. Moving forward to Argo in 2012, he has packed on a decent amount of fat since the town. It doesn't look like he's regressed to his physique in 2006 where he had the dad bod going, but certainly he still has visible abs to some extent, but he has regressed at least since the 2010 movie The Town, where many think his physique peaked. And then moving forward to Gone Girl, amazing movie by the way. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. 42 years old here, is fit for his age, very average fit guy looking, potentially even dad bod material here still, but definitely cycled off at this point. If he was on anything, I think it was just sporadically for the town. Even in To the Wonder in 2012 at 40 years old, he lost the majority of his cuts from the 2010 The Town movie. Obviously, downlighting is going to heavily impact how lean he looks, and maybe he was a bit closer than it seems in this lighting in particular because it's a bit less flattering, and we can see he does have a decent amount of muscle on him still, or at least some muscle. Perhaps that's a bit exaggerating to say a significant amount, but with that being said, he definitely has a decent physique in this movie still. And in Argo during the same year, like we mentioned, he has visible abs here and he's not out of shape. He's just not in shape as he was for the town. Now, finally, moving forward to Batman vs Superman, this is where he claims his physique peaked throughout his entire career. In my opinion, I don't think so. I think he is displaying probably the second best physique he's had throughout his career, maybe close to the Argo role, but it's certainly not better than the town, where in the town he was just way leaner. Like, it goes without saying that he was displaying a much better body composition in the town, much leaner, potentially even holding more muscle mass. It's hard to say though, because in the interview he details the statistics, which are definitely worth listening to get more insight into how much muscle he perceives he gained, what kind of body composition changes they think they made for the movie, etc.
I put on a lot of weight for this movie, yeah. I put on the good kind of weight. I put on about 1.5 pounds of muscle a month, which sounds like nothing, but that's hard to do.
He's a big guy, 6'4". He weighs 225 in the movie. You know, people like to use the comparison to the town because there is a physical portion of the town. He's 198 pounds for that movie. And that's not where he started, that's where he ended up.
So he went from 198 he was in the town to 225 for Batman. But you have to keep in mind, Ben Affleck is 6'4". So while 198, pretty shredded, seems like something, that's like men's physique stats almost, and it's indicative of steroid use for sure. That is on a 6'4" frame. And I don't know where I heard it. Maybe it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said that for every inch in height, you should add 7 pounds to your how much bigger the next guy should be to maintain the same size and distribute it through your physique. I'm not sure where I heard that quote exactly, but I'm pretty sure that's obviously a very probably not accurate paraphrase, but it was something similar to that. So basically on a 6'4" guy, 198 at like 11-12% body fat or something like that is not huge by any means. However, I still think he probably used a bit of testosterone for the town simply based on how much his physique changed, the recomposition that occurred, but also the gyno sort of that we see in that downlighting clip. However, it doesn't mean that physique isn't achievable naturally. I just think for him, it probably wasn't. And moving forward to Batman, though, a lot of people see these statistics, 225 and, gaining pure muscle and leaner. Sometimes I give these guys the benefit of the doubt when they outline their statistics and sort of base my videos on these statistics, simply for sometimes it's reasonable. Like some of the videos I've done in the past, their outlines are somewhat reasonable, but for this one, 225 and leaner is just definitely not true. And he's definitely gained a significant amount of fat from the town to the Batman movie. And he's definitely not in the single digits of body fat percentage.
He has put on 30 pounds of muscle and he's 8% body fat. Wow. So
I can't tell if this guy is just nodding his head and smiling like this because he knows it's complete bullshit, or if he's actually really impressed, because I feel like this guy probably knows a thing or two about body composition, and that is just simply a ridiculous statement to make, which I'm sure he probably knows. And he definitely didn't gain that much muscle, and he's certainly not even close to single digits. It's nothing not to take away from his hard work. The guy definitely improved his physique since past roles, but I don't believe his physique was better than the Town in 2010. And if anything, I think the Town was probably indicative of performance enhancing use, particularly a mild dose of testosterone or something aromatizing, but more than likely testosterone. And then for Batman, I think he's almost has like a buff, skewed, like dad bod almost. Like here we can see there's not a lot of clips of him from the Batman movies, and I think they use the angles like very, very conservatively. They show the shirtless clips very conservatively to kind of avoid portraying him in a negative light, because when you're not actually truly shredded, it's a lot harder to come across as shredded in the scenes. So they are blatantly being conservative with these shots, in my opinion, for his training footage. And when we can see him just, when he's preparing for the role, it's not like he's displaying a significantly better physique than the Town. TMZ's covered this, and a bunch of other media outlets have covered how much more jacked he is for the role. But in reality, I don't think he really packed on more than maybe 5 pounds of muscle and then a significant amount of fat. Like, I don't think he gained fat for the role. I just think relative to his best physique, which was the Town, he's probably holding about 15 to 20 pounds more of fat and an additional 5 pounds of muscle at most. And you could argue even less favorably, in my opinion, because in the Town, he's actually like legitimately shredded almost and has a decent amount of muscle on his frame. And for Batman, even in the training footage, you can see the fluff on the sides, you can see the love handles, you can see the lack of striation, you can see the lack of muscle detail, you can see the difference in his face, especially between the two roles in the leanness, as well as just, the vascularity and whatnot. Because when you see him in Batman, even the lighting, it's, evidently skewed in order to kind of mask his cuts. Like they're trying to show off his physique, but you can see here it's a more of like a rectangular frame. While he does have visible abs in the Batman movie, I think it's pretty obvious that he isn't really close to the Town physique. I'm not sure why they're asserting he's gained like 30 pounds of lean tissue since that role, but there are favorable scenes where you can see his visible abs. I think they probably did something to highlight them to some extent, because the amount of fat he's holding around his love handles area seems a bit contradictory to what is visible on his actual stomach in terms of ab cuts. But we can see everywhere else that he's not out of shape, he's fit. It's just relative to his body composition in the Town, it's just not the same level. And he's definitely improved since his roles in his late 30s, but comparing to him 198 in the Town, where he was probably legitimately close to 11 to 12%, maybe even close to 10%, he's probably closer to like 15 to 16%, if not more, in the Batman movie, with definitely more muscle than his previous most recent roles, but definitely not better body composition than the Town. And I think the likely scenario is that he took something for the Town and nothing for the Batman movie. So I think he would have displayed a much better physique in the Batman movie had he taken testosterone. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think he took? For what roles do you think he took it, if anything? Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when I post. Check me out on Instagram. Follow me there at moreplates_more_dates, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, etc. TikTok, BitChute, anywhere else I'm on, Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.